unless it's organic, you can pretty much assume it's GMO, the same with corn.
Well, it can be organic and GMO, can't it?
Sure.
Yeah, but less likely.
Same
much
with
less
corn.
likely.
Yeah.
But your odds are much better. And it's healthier otherwise than
Mhm.
organic. My bottom line is to only eat from organic fermented soy.
Oh.
That's called tempeh.
Yeah.
Yes, tempeh. Miso also, that you
Mhm.
can't eat it by the
Okay.
spoonful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, tempeh.
How about the amino acid one?
And that, liquid aminos,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know enough about it to comment. It's probably okay. I wouldn't eat it by the cupful, but it's probably fine as a condiment. As is organic tamari, which is the other type of fermented soy. Fermentation removes most of the unhealthy things about soy and other foods and enhances the healthy things about it. If you have to eat non-fermented, organic tofu is probably the next best, preferably cooked, or organic soy milk, but really tempeh is the healthy
Mhm.
thing. If you don't like the taste of it, just put some really strong sauce with it and you won't notice the flavor. It's kind of like clay or cardboard, so you just taste whatever's around it.
So what do you recommend in terms of milks?
Yeah,
Like,
not
instead of soy
necessarily
milk, do
as
you
a
do like
complete
nut milk or like?
yeah, the nut milks, particularly almond milk. Edgar Casey said eat 3 almonds a day and you won't get cancer. I wouldn't rely on that.
What
but-
did he say?
Oh, eat 3 almonds a day and you won't get cancer.
Oh, that's why I love almonds.
Yeah. And almonds are just very healthy all around. Walnuts, refrigerated, are very, very healthy. Coconuts, very, very healthy.
Black
Any of
walnuts?
those milks.
Mhm.
Any of the nut milks, I think, are okay. Pretty much. Coconut milk.
Mhm.
Hemp milk in moderation, I think, is okay.
Okay.
There's a cultured coconut milk in the refrigerated department of the health food stores. Again, anything cultured is very, very healthy. Cultured coconut
What
milk.
about rice milk?
That's good too.
Okay.
Assuming that you're not watching your carbs too
Mhm.
much. Yeah. Brown rice is very healthy. This whole school of eating macrobiotics, I asked Misha Kushi, the founder of macrobiotics, what's the healthiest grain for cancer patients, and he said brown rice,
Interesting.
followed by barley.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of grains, but brown rice is very healthy. And meat substitutes, if you eat like a grain and a bean, or I think it's a bean and a nut, within like 5-6 hours of each other forms of complete protein. It's a sprouted thing. Sprouting turns the carbs into protein. It's a help too. Green foods, algae,
Mhm.
etc. This powders, make sure they don't have soy in them, but like pea protein, rice protein. It's whey if you're not vegan, high quality whey,
Mhm.
I should say. Some other things, vegan people tend to be deficient in vitamin B12. B complex, I think, is good for most people. Anyway, and helpful for so many different things.
Talk about the proper form of B12 versus the not so healthy form of B12, because she needs to know. Cyano
is
versus
the cheaper,
methyl.
I think less absorbed one. Methyl is the better one.
Cyanocobalamin is a very cheap form of B12. They can claim it's B12. It's very cheap, easy to put in. What you want is something called methyl, cobalamin, which metabolizes much more better. And the cyano is, guess what? Its central atom structure is its cyanide.
Yeah.
That's where the cyano comes from.
Okay. Also, I'll go over some of the vitamins and supplements that I want to highlight, especially some of the ones that vegan and vegetarian people tend to need. Vitamin K2 is very hard to get in our modern diet, adequate amounts of, and it's very important. Wes Price discovered it, called it the Price Factor Activator X. It goes very well with vitamin D3, which virtually everyone is deficient in unless they sunbathe for an hour daily and don't take a shower for 6 to 12 hours afterwards. And live near the equator during the winter, which is hard to do.
It's a lot of stuff, yeah.
And
Just to reiterate, there's something called vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. D3 is the preferred form of
yeah,
vitamin.
much preferred. Yeah.
And it's not really a vitamin, it's actually it's an estrogen.
Hormone.
It's a
That's
hormone.
true. Yeah. So yeah, vitamin D3, preferably with vitamin K2.
Is there a product that has them together?
Megafood.com, which is basically the best vitamin company in general. They're food-based, very expensive, but if you can afford them, they're worth it.
What
They
natural
have a
foods
combo
would
of
have
vitamins.
K2 in it?
Some cheeses, fermented soy, I think grass-fed animal products, ocean, non-farm raised fish.
And broadleaf green leafy vegetables.
They have K1 in them, which is also very important. K2, yeah, I think is pretty hard to get adequate amounts of. But you can get some in those, for sure. Selenium, I don't think it's realistically possible to get adequate amounts of in the modern diet.
Yes. Eat 2 Brazil nuts a day and you're good.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to have Brazil nuts bolded and capitalized here.
Yeah.
My understanding is that really for the optimal amounts, you have to eat about a dozen a day. Maybe it's half a dozen a day. And I just learned that they tend to have aflatoxin on them. I don't know quite how much, but I'm so scared of aflatoxin, I took them off completely. Sunflower seeds have a little bit, but not nearly as much. I personally would supplement with a good selenium, and or better yet, a multi-mineral. Ideally food-based, like mega food, if not citrate minerals is good form. I say fish or cod liver oil or the Nordic Naturals algae.
I'm happy to know
Almost everyone
about
needs.
that, because I've been looking for something.
Great.
So, thank you.
Sure. The green powder mix. Zeolite is a new substance from volcanic ash. It's amazing for absorbing heavy metals and other toxins from the body.
What is it?
Zeolite. It's made from volcanic ash. It just really absorbs toxins and pulls them out. I first learned about it as a cancer treatment, which it's quite effective as. It's great for detox.
And where do you get it from?
Drops. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they have it in most health food stores. It's certainly very popular, so it shouldn't be hard to find.
Okay.
I can give you some. Nutramedics.com is also one of the best supplement companies I know of, especially for zeolite. Most of their supplements are energized with frequencies and just produce amazing results. They have a parsley detox also, which would be great for chelation. I'm not sure about lead, but in general, chelation.
Something that I appreciate sharing with the rest of the group, because people have, a whole variety of knowledge bases. So the idea of energizing a mineral or a vitamin, talk about that. That's, I think a lot of people don't know about that.
I'm embarrassed to say I know the company quite well and know that they're excellent. I know several of the doctors who very highly recommend their products and just get amazing results from them. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know exactly what the specifics are of the energizing with frequencies. Do you know the specifics?
Well, it's similar to homeopathy in that you'll have a product that in itself is beneficial to the individual, but then they actually will connect it usually to some form of device that will put a specific frequency into it.
Okay.
And it it causes it to be energetically more efficient. Just how we call in, let's say in our church here, the Holy Spirit, you're adding an additional element to it, above and beyond just the pure physical chemistry.
Got it, thanks, that's good to learn.
So homeopathy comes the closest to that concept,
Okay,
that you're really taking in the energy. You actually acknowledge the energy as being, because homeopathy has almost little to no actual atomic or molecular structure into it. What you're taking is the energy field of a certain product,
right.
which is very, very contrarian to the allopathic model or the medical model that's been in Western society for like the last 100 years or so.
Yes, very true.
There's much you can do about that on your own in terms of any food that has water as part of the base, because it both prepares your body and the food. If you focus energy on the food,
Yeah,
it aligns. Basically, they've shown with water, it will align the molecules so that it sort of ideally, you accept what's good about the food, and you're preparing your body in terms of sense of, okay, I'm preparing my body to receive food. Whereas if you're really stressed, when you're really stressed, and the cells don't absorb food as well.
Good
You know,
point.
so if you take the time to actually, as throughout history, bless your food,
Yes.
charge your food, it prepares both the food and your body for the more efficient absorption. And I can't prove that scientifically, but there's a lot of evidence that sort of supports that
Definitely. I
idea.
heard of a study they found actually higher antioxidants after food was blessed.
Mhm.
And like in water, like, I don't know, this methodology wasn't too sound, but writing a word on a water bottle would affect the molecular structure. And
Oh, yeah.
Allison said that the most beautiful water structure was found with the words love and gratitude.
Mhm. Well, that both started with Dr. Emoto's work,
Yes.
but also there's a movie out, it's about an hour-long document on just water and the unique properties of water. And part of it's very scientific, but one part of it did show that water is affected by vibration energy, and you put a radio next to it and it changes the structure. But also they also showed that if you meditate over the water, it aligns the molecule.
Beautiful.
And our bodies and food is high content of water.
Great.
Well,
Okay, there's a few more things I want to try to get to. Did you have a quick question?
No, I was just gonna say, I took it one step further. I wear this necklace that says love, so I am always speaking it to the water in my body. And when I started doing that, things changed for me. So
Beautiful.
it's just for what it's worth.
Beautiful. Also, if you look on the front page, the guidelines for healthy living side, at the end of the second to last paragraph, the line begins nutrimetics.com. That was that superb supplement company I was mentioning, that they energize their products with frequencies. Probiotics, almost everyone is deficient of in our society, and it helps with almost every condition around, amazingly.
Do you have a particular brand that you favor for the probiotics?
Yeah, but any good health food store brand, preferably high dose. Mega Foods is a great one. Preferably one with a lot of different species in it.
Also being carefully
Yeah.
refrigerated is
Being
really, really
refrigerated.
important.
So, yeah. But just go to a health food store and ask them what's one of your better brands of it. High dose, Cookie 10. Got that. I want to be sure to cover some of the questions.
Oh, I have a
The
question.
testing issue.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you feel about juicing? Do you feel like it's worth it?
Very much so. Juicing is extremely healthy. Some basic tips. If you can get a masticating juicer that squeezes rather than spins it around in a circle, it just preserves more of the enzymes. And try not to juice much high sugar or high glycemic stuff at one time.
Give a few examples for everybody here.
Yeah, like Carrot juice is medium in that area. I wouldn't juice like mangoes or like really sweet fruit like that. But leafy greens are very low glycemic and are great. Most vegetables are. Apples, try to get the less sweet ones, like Granny Smith or green ones, etc.
Do you think juice is better than everything together blended?
It's like comparing apples and oranges. They both have their pros and cons. If you have like diabetes or blood sugar issue, blending would be better because you get more fiber, slower absorption. If you were going to live on one or the other, I would do the blended whole stuff. For short-term detoxification or healing, juicing is better because it compresses the nutrients, most of which are in the juice, and it breaks down the fibers so you absorb them. So, and your body doesn't have to do the work of breaking down the fiber and digesting them. So your body can focus on detoxing and healing short-term. I'm going to leave Lyme disease for the last because it's the most challenging. Lyme blood analysis, where they take a drop of your blood, look at it immediately under a microscope, is extremely valuable to do. There's all sorts of things you discover by that. The shape, the texture of your red blood cells, white blood cells, antibodies, whether the white blood cells are attacking the bad things or not, if you have fat clumps, if you have parasites, funguses, bacteria, whatever, tons of other stuff, a lot of which does not come up on standard blood work.
Where do you do that sort of test?
I know of like 6 of them in the DC Baltimore area. I can email them to you. I don't know of any directory or any systematic way of finding them except really word of mouth. Yeah, if you ask in a health food store, they might know.
Do you know Healthways? It's a little chain, and it's one over in Annandale. It's one of the oldest health food stores around. When I've been in there, I've seen the sign up that the guy's coming on a certain Saturday, like do the live blood analysis, and you do it right there in the store.
Excellent. It's more economical than going to someone in private practice.
Yeah, and they said, does Darfield show Lyme?
From what I know, it cannot reliably diagnose Lyme, and I think I've heard about it. One person told me it can diagnose magnesia, which is one of the Lyme infections, but it's certainly not something you can rely upon. A huge portion of people have Lyme disease. A local doctor's assistant told me that like 70% of the people that they test come up positive for Lyme. That doesn't mean that they have the disease. The immune system will hopefully keep it in check. But there are literally like 80 different diseases that are really can be caused by Lyme. In Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, migraine headaches. I mean, just endless list of things. It's really valuable to get tested. The standard tests have a lot of false negatives. So if you come up negative, that doesn't really tell you too much. If you want, I can email you some tests that have higher accuracy rates. But it's certainly well worth it to get tested. And check your body for ticks thoroughly if you're out in the woods, etc. Good sources of spices, herbs, teas. All I can really say is try to get organic, not from China unless you really know the company. It's an important question. I don't know much more than that. Just try to get organic.
I had heard
Or a really reputable brand.
Right, I had heard that even the stuff that came in from India could be contaminated.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if it's a processing issue or what, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they supervise the organicness that thoroughly.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
I discovered that I have a smart meter on my house.
Yeah.
What do I do? Can't tell them to remove it, they won't.
What state do you live in?
Virginia.
I don't know the Virginia laws. Smart meters. The electric company puts them outside your house to like communicate by radio your energy usage.
Everybody will have them within 10 years.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they
They're just
obviously
doing
came
it.
in
You don't have a
stealthily
choice.
one day when I was at work and switched
Yeah.
out my old meter with the smart meter.
Because they own it and they
They
feel,
know they can do whatever they want.
right.
Yeah, to put it, without using fear tactics, just frame it in a positive way. If you don't have one, if there's anything you can do to avoid getting one, do it. If you have one, if there's anything you do to get rid of it, do it. If you can't get rid of it, one, I would try to move your bed as far away from it as you can, or any place where you spend most of your time, but particularly sleeping. Try to move, even each foot further away makes a significant difference.
Right.
Just
What-
let
Is there
it-
anything
What
like
is,
the
what
EMF?
is so more dangerous about like the smart meters and all the other hundreds of microwaves and waves that are going through us each and every day?
Excellent question. I have a little bit of information in my notes. I don't remember the specifics.
Okay.
Can you
Also-
send him something after?
Yes. Yeah.
I
Anyone who wants
appreciate
to.
that.
Yeah.
It's hard to
That's-
identify
that's
which
been
I
an issue
should.
for some people, though. I mean, I was distressed when I discovered that they switched it out.
I wonder if some kind of device could neutralize it.
But that's what I'm wondering too.
Well, you
sure
definitely
there's
can definitely shield the side that's against your
I'm
house.
sure you can.
Yeah. I know one thing that works very well is putting a lead shield over it, but then the electric company will come
Well,
over.
they'll come out and remove that.
It's so it's always. I wouldn't
Has to be
recommend this.
something else.
But like, the best thing I know of, other than just distance, getting as many feet away as possible, have you seen like gadgets that people stick on their cell phone, like these little
The
bugs?
biodots.
Yeah,
I have them on.
yeah, there's many different companies who make them. Some are much better than others, or some necklace pendants, stuff like that. Certainly anything like that anywhere near you or near the smart meter, I think would help. They have one specifically to stick onto the smart meter, which I think make a huge difference.
That's what
If
I.
you want me to email you some of the companies that I have most confidence in,
Can you email
That would be
also the
interesting.
you just said the other thing you're going to email.
yeah, just be sure to give me your email
Yeah.
address.
The reason why I say that is I know a company, you might be interested in them, that's, they do very pure supplements, et cetera, and they also market stuff, to reduce EMFs, for example.
And the name of that company would be?
Well, okay. The company name is Premier Research Labs, Dr. Bob Marshall.
You make
But
one of the best cards ever.
yeah, but how they market it, if you type in Premier Research Labs, you'll probably get to their websites, but he has about 2 different websites that quantum nutritional healing or something. So, but in there he has some items which I meant to call their offices and ask them if they might help, same idea as you were talking about, how to shield it, that might help to mitigate the smart meter issue.
Yeah, that's very much worth checking out.
Because I know that, I'm assuming that if you're on the second floor and it's on the first floor and you try to sleep on the other side of the house, you're probably as far away from it as you can get. But he was
Yes.
using a lot of, what do you call it, Vastu principles
Okay.
to try to mitigate EMFs.
Great. It's funny, that was the one thing I wanted to be sure not to miss about the smart meters, so
Yeah,
thank you for bringing that up.
yeah, I didn't know about them.
And the general guideline, if this is like a lot of information to absorb, or you don't have to, or if you're rereading it but don't have time to read all of it, just look at the stuff that's bolded, or if that's too much time, look at the stuff that's capitalized and bolded. Those things really have astronomical importance. Even if you ignored everything else, if you just do the things that are capitalized and bolded, genuinely it'll prevent the vast majority of disease. I'm just skimming through to see if there's any things I want to highlight even more intensely. I didn't have a chance to go into it, but bottom line, I cannot emphasize strongly enough the value of switching to a holistic dentist, or at least getting a consultation from a holistic dentist, especially if you have amalgam fillings, and especially if you have any root canals, or if you're ever told you need to get a root canal, and see a holistic dentist. I can email you names if you want.
And why?
Can you cover that? Because
Yeah,
if,
why?
if you don't have a root canal, it has to be pulled. It's a very blunt A or B.
Yeah, or traditionally that's been the case. Some holistic dentists offer a new procedure called biological root canals.
And what would that entail?
As best I understand it, they sterilize the tissue much more thoroughly, seal it up much more thoroughly, and use healthier materials so you don't have this toxic materials in your mouth, and it's less likely to get infected. Still potential, but less likely.
This guy in Ohio that does it.
What?
I investigated, there's a dentist in Ohio. It was hard to find anybody around here who would do it.
There are a few around here now who do it.
Bob Johnson is sort of the premier guy. He's in Fairfax.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I go to Dr. Sana's
just
hair
moved
line.
to Naya
Columbia.
in Friendship Heights, NayaDC.com. They're not cheap, but they're really good. He and several other great holistic dentists.
Who are they?
Where are they? Oh, Friendship Heights.
Friendship
Heights. NIHA stands for National Integrated Health Associates.
They advertise heavily.
Naya.
pathways.
Heavy advertisers.
Yeah, NayaDC.com. But if you want more economical ones, just email me. They're a great holistic health center in general.
There was a, I stumbled upon it when I was looking for magnesium oil. And it was actually kind of, you know how you get on the internet and you end up going here and there and, you know, suddenly, oh, I'll click on that and see where that leads me. I was on one of Dr. Marshall's websites and he was, that's where I discovered magnesium oil. And so then I clicked over on something and I ended up on the magnesium oil website that wasn't Dr. Marshall's. And all of a sudden I get this whole thing of a company that's selling various clays to detoxify the body.
Like bentonite?
No, they were, I can't tell, they were like, they had specific clay, so they must have made them in different combinations. And so let's say you wanted one that was really going to address mercury or lead or maybe two heavy metals, or if you were really trying to detoxify something weird like asbestos or something like that, and you use them in the bath. You put them in the bath, they're very messy. From the reviews I read, some of the people have used them. I can send you that website. And I was very interested in them because I've been detoxing for a long time for mercury. And
I would like to get this.
yeah, and I will try to dig it up because I was led to it through, you know.
Magnesium oil.
And one of the magnesium oil company.
What is magnesium?
I don't know how it worked out.
Is that the one where you soak your feet in it daily?
What is magnesium oil for?
Well, okay, I
Most
didn't
people
know
are
about.
deficient in magnesium.
Yeah, it's a magnesium oil is actually, there's no such thing as a magnesium oil, but
Exactly.
when you feel it, it feels oily. That's just the sensation on your skin, and it comes. In this case, the magnesium is mined. Is that the right word? From the Zechstein See, which is in the North, I think the North Sea or something like that, or the Baltic, in a very, very old, millions of years old, geological structure. And you can rub it on the skin. I guess you could take it by mouth, though I don't think I would. Let's say you have short shoulders or something, you could rub it on your skin. It would definitely help alleviate, just muscular pains. And it seems to have other healing properties, which I haven't read thoroughly, but from that website, the magnesium oil website, I got to maybe it's the same company that was importing the clays for the specific purposes. I mean, there were some very unusual things that people might be trying to detox, and almost like people who had been working in industrial settings where they were exposed to really, stuff that we probably wouldn't be exposed to, but they would be, particular chemicals or whatever. I have a little story to